Guten Tag.
First, I thought that message was to somebody else because it was completely out of nowhere.
So did I. It wasn't?
I don't know.
I assumed it was, but I was going to just go on with it.
Yeah, if he meant to be messaging us or not.
I mean, it clearly was he was responding to someone asking him about his diet. We had not done that, nor have ever.
What did he say?
Wait, are we running? Let's roll it. This is good stuff. If everyone wants us to quit talking about this, we'll have to come back. Let's talk to the bread. The bread should freaking have an opinion on this.
Hey, he's very anti-bread.
Yeah. We've invited his nemesis. Carbs.
If he's not jealous of a human host,
exactly.
He'll be he has such a mad reaction to bread.
Let's go.
Yeah, I said I'm finishing up Luke Cage episode 5. Not going to get through the series today. Anyone finish it? You said you weren't watching it. Jordan said still halfway through Daredevil season 2. I said okay, so I'm good. Jordan said above and beyond. Planning on closing around 8. Clean up quick dinner should be out around 9. And then Michael replied, "I'm low carb." Well, I'm gluten and dairy free with a picture of a guy chugging milk.
So yeah, I thought maybe he just wanted to share that GIF. And
after I saw the GIF, then yeah, it does make sense. That was it was all about him wanting to say that.
He was guilt tripping me for whatever my fast food dinner was going to be. He's like, "Well, I'm low carb."
Yeah. I think it was he really
I got
wanted
a wrap,
some milk.
Michael. I got a chicken wrap. If you want to know about my carb intake, it was a wrap.
Oh my gosh!
No
Do
bun.
a chicken wrap.
No
right now.
bun here.
I want to hear
chicken.
All right.
Go back and put an intro in front of that.
Yeah, sure.
What are we doing?
All right. I'll play the damn thing. Tell me when you're ready.
The intro should come in now, 5 minutes into the thing.
There's no rules. There's no rules, Cliff.
That was our cold open.
There's rules in my head.
You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Michael, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You
did too early.
You were going so slow the last couple episodes, and this time, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody. Along with bread, I am Jordan Lowe.
I don't have any butter yet, but I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Well, we can't make Michael show up out of jealousy of our guests, so we thought maybe we would invite his arch enemy, Carbs.
If you're new to the podcast, Michael is shedding pounds.
If you're new, we used to have a guy named Michael.
He's shedding pounds and shedding his responsibilities as a podcast host.
Right.
I've forgotten what his voice sounds like.
He explained how he had to work tonight and tomorrow, and then both of these guys explained how they also do the exact same thing, and they still come.
Yeah, we both just got off work.
Yeah.
Go back in the morning.
We'll be
bright
back
and early.
in just a few hours.
Yep. Here we are.
And you guys might even eat some carbs in between there. And he's not
You never know.
Anyway, so we got this loaf of bread here to stand in for him. Doesn't have much to say, but
he's just loafing around.
Oh man. Did you get that one?
Yeah, I got that.
So anyway, we're just going to talk about a few things like we always do.
No good stories this week?
Well, I had a good story,
No.
but I decided to write about it.
I'm fascinated by your story.
Oh, really?
You've been hinting.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Well, it's kind of...
And now you've built it up so much, it better knock our socks off.
Right, yeah. It's all coming to a head, right? I don't know when this episode's coming out, but you may be listening to this while things are moving around. Anyway.
Where do we expect this to come out to?
Just Facebook. I'll put it on Facebook and I'll share it on the Ka-Pow thing.
Okay.
I think. If I can figure it out, I'm sure I can link to it somehow on
we can
Dropbox
actually
or something.
publish it through our website. If
we could do that maybe.
Yeah.
You down with kpp.com?
That would be correct.
What? So anyway, it might be there by the time you hear this.
No, this has something to do with genealogy. Or ancestry. Well, you've dropped the breadcrumbs. Sorry, bread, but he has crumbled up the breadcrumbs.
You should have seen the
I don't know
look
if that's
you got.
I don't know if that's an offensive term.
Oh man, he about tore out that plastic bag and came across the table after you.
But I had to look up my own genealogy because I wanted to try and top your story.
Oh, good luck.
So now it's no good. But I wanted to tell you about my great grandpa times 5, whatever that is. Great grandpa Jacob Nestle, not Nestle like candy.
Oh man, I'm a hunk carbs.
Nestley. Was up northeast Ohio, or the West Virginia Panhandle there, outside of Pittsburgh. Had huge apple orchards and peach orchards, and was a big brandy distiller. Grew all this fruit to make liquor.
Yeah.
And he used these grafting techniques where he would, graft older, successful branches onto new, younger trees, and was trying to make the best kind of apples there were. Well, it turns out a man named John Chapman, better known as Johnny Appleseed, didn't cotton to that. And he is Johnny Appleseed, American folk hero, is quoted as saying, "They can improve the apple that way, but that is only a device of man, and it is wicked to cut up trees that way. The correct method is to collect good seeds and plant them in good ground, and God only can improve the apples." So my most famous relative's biggest claim to fame is ticking off Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah, going Westworld on the apple orchards. Wow, that's pretty exciting.
But then I had to realize, wait, my relatives used to be wealthy. He was like a land baron. Yeah. Big money,
where's the money? It's out there.
I don't know. Somebody spent it or drank
I'll show you how to find it. No, I don't know. I don't know anything. Anyway, yeah. So, if you see the article, check it out. If you're not interested, don't. It doesn't matter. I'm writing it to get it out of my system.
It will be better than that story.
I don't know. That's pretty good. I gotta get it out of my system, and then it'll just be there, and I'll be done. Anyway, so what else is new? Anything happening?
No, it's a pretty standard week for me. I've been waiting all week just to do this podcast, hoping Michael would show up, but all I can depend on is a half-eaten loaf of bread.
Yeah. All right, well, pick something to talk about then, guys.
TV.
Oh, the Lord.
What the hell is a sticky maple?
Run, Barry, run! That's what I do. I dream, and I know things.
Go get him, Supergirl.
Well, what does this guy look like, anyway?
Oh, he's a little guy, kind of funny looking.
Uh-huh. In what way?
Oh, just in a general kind of way.
Exterminate!
Little pig! Let me in!
These violent delights have violent ends.
That's what she said.
Groovy.
So, Westworld ended.
It did.
But we're not going to talk about it because we're going to do a special little episode covering that coming up very soon. So, what else have you been watching, Jordan?
Oh, man. Cloak and Dagger.
Yep.
That's on Freeform, right?
Freeform. Thursdays at 8.
How far are they into the season as of this moment?
About, I think, 6 episodes or so. Because the first night was a 2-hour premiere. They played 2 episodes. And I had very little interest. I mean, I'd seen some of the promo stuff, and it looked quality, visually. But I just didn't care much about the story, or I didn't have any faith in the Freeform network to really tell a good story. But I've been invested. I've been really enjoying it. I thought it was solid. At the end of the pilot, in my brain popped that I haven't seen Runaways yet, but my brain was like, Runaways can't be any better than this. Like, this is as good as basic cable superheroes can be, I think.
I believe you. I have not seen it, but
I
remember you mentioning it when it first came out, and then I never heard anything else.
I think I watched the first. I'm missing the last episode that's just aired, but I too have it's impressed me. I think the actors are good enough.
It's our motto.
The girl that plays Tandy, I like her. I didn't know much about the story at all going into it, any origins or anything. Like, I know who the characters are. That's about it. So this was a really nice introduction for me going into it. But yeah, I've thought, the effects have been fine. They're as good as you're going to get on cable television. But the origin story, that first premiere, really kind of hooked me. And I've really been watching along, just trying to figure out where it's going, because I don't essentially know, what the end of this season is. But yeah, it's for Freeform. I've been streaming it on Hulu, and it's been great. Like it's been a great summer series. Like when there's nothing else to watch, it's nice to have a quality show that I can sit down and enjoy a little bit, and not feel like I have to rush through it, because I got 8 million other things to watch right now. So, besides Westworld.
Well, they've tweaked the characters and the powers and the origin. I mean, it's not straight out of the comics, but who cares?
I don't even barely remember.
Yeah, but they've made their powers, at least in this early stage, when she touches someone, she can read their hopes, and she gets a flash of what they're hoping for. And when he touches someone, he sees their fears. So they've done a few kind of abstract scenes, like dream sequences or kind of metaphorical things that are, weird and, smoky and odd. And I saw a review said this show is a very nice balance between a very simple, straightforward, like CW type show that's just plot, 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 and a show like Legion that is so heady and so abstract, and it's not the mainstream, so it's somewhere in between there. It's good versus evil superhero stuff, but there's something a little deeper. And I said the look of it, they've done some cool things with the cinematography. There are just shots. There was one, it was like someone getting out of a car, and the thing was like a low shot from like the back tire looking into the rearview mirror, and they like faded in. I was like, there's no shot like that on The Flash, or like it's just different. Mm-hmm. And it just looks, I don't know, it looks really neat. And like you said, the acting has been really good so far.
I may have to check it out. Of course, I also was looking for a summer series to just kick back and entertain me. And guess
Tell
what?
Tell me more.
Guess what?
Summer series happens so fast.
Keep going.
Between this and the chicken wrap, we've got
I know, yeah.
We've got half an EP going here.
Let's get together right now. Big Brother season 20.
Woo! Starring a robot?
Yeah.
I heard it has a robot.
Yeah, they're going Westworld. Season 20. Okay, everybody, there was some buzz. Were they going to do another All Stars? Everybody kept thinking season 20 is when it was going to happen. And basically for the past many years, they always just keep putting in somebody that's already been on the show on there, and they end up dominating things. And it's annoying, and fans don't really... I mean, I'm sure they draw in viewers by having people that the audience is familiar with, the casual viewer, but the people that watched it know everybody is really... You kind of want a season of just newbies. And so it's kind of a level playing field, and that's what they are doing this year. So everybody's pretty happy with it. I think they're going like these all-star type seasons are going to be more of that winter celebrity feel. They'll probably put some old contestants on that show, I would assume. But anyway, it's fine so far. There's a couple crazy people in there. There's one. Anybody watching? The girl I like is Caitlin. She is a mess. and is hilarious, just very emotional, and is good TV. So far so good. And yeah, they had a girl that they had they had 2 people lost something in the first week, one of the first contests, and they each got a punishment. One was she had a little spinner and a necklace, and this is stupid, that she, when it spun, she had to stay in whatever room she was in. Okay, so maybe if the conversation went to another room or she wanted to be somewhere else, she might miss out on it. Okay, that's a minor thing. And then another girl, they made her be a robot, and she had to stay in a completely different room, and a robot went around the house, and she could just see through it, and it was way worse of a punishment. It's cute and everything, but for the first 2 weeks to not be able to form any relationships is like the worst.
Also,
punishment.
no one had met the person.
Yeah, they just very briefly.
Oh, okay.
But then for 2 weeks, she barely is in there as herself. She's that robot, and nobody wants to stand there. And you cannot form a relationship with just a voice. And it was.
What would be great is if the robot couldn't whisper. Because that whole show,
she couldn't.
That whole show is just people whispering. Hey, what did we do?
I
think we should go here. Eliminate Steve.
That basically was the thing, and the guy's name was Steve. You're watching it, aren't you?
No, that's my robot intuition.
But yeah, they couldn't turn. They could only turn her volume certain. Anyway, it was pretty funny. But they gave her some. She ended up trending. And it won her a power, so she won a little safety to kind of balance things out. So far so good. What else you watching? Hey, we're watching Yellowstone. Tell us about
Yellowstone, yeah, on another odd TV channel that I never watched in the past. Paramount Network.
What was that before? That was something before.
Spike TV.
So this is Kevin Costner's big prestige drama. The showrunner is Taylor Sheridan,
who we're big fans of.
One of very very excellent filmmaker. Hell or High Water, Wind River, Sicario.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
So this is the story of Kevin Costner, again a land baron like my great grandfather. Yeah. Like a cattle rancher right on the border of an Indian reservation. And kind of the drama.
He's crossbreeding orange and apple trees.
That's my prestige drama. And then in comes Johnny Appleseed and they got to fight.
I would watch the
And then but one's a robot.
Yeah. There was an episode last night I missed because my dish got shot or something.
I checked and there wasn't anything on.
So I watched something for like a minute. So maybe it just was like a preview or something.
Okay.
I don't know, but anyway.
Because I think maybe it's on Wednesdays and it was 4th of July. So I think maybe
that's good. I didn't miss anything. So far, it's not knocking my socks off, but it's okay.
I just appreciate it's a lot like his other movies in that it takes place, where it takes place is important. It's not just a generic, usually a Southern drama. It doesn't matter if it's Atlanta or Charlotte or wherever. It's just the South. But this, his movies really incorporate everyday people in very specific places, and this is on the big it was Montana, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
it really matters,
I think. Oh snap. Yeah right, Montana. Yeah, but up there in the barren plains where, like Wind River, his movie, where if someone gets shot, and we gotta get an ambulance. It'll be 45 minutes before an ambulance can get here. This is not your typical New York crime drama where we've seen a million times. So, I think it has enough potential to keep me.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I'll watch the whole first season anyway. See where we go from there. Just because I like Taylor Sheridan so much.
We also had Preacher premiered its new season.
Oh, it did
on AMC. And we're doing the Angelville story, if you've read the comics, where Jesse goes home and his creepy grandmother and the 2 guys he knew as kids, Jody and TC, kind of the bad dudes from his childhood. So that was one of the highlights of the comic, so I'm hoping this season does really well. There's been no talk of if it's getting renewed or how much more we're going to get of this show, but this could be the big finale.
What about you, Cliff? What else you watching?
Not a lot. Mostly what lately it's been all streaming. A lot of Netflix.
Well, we left hanging a couple of our CW shows.
Oh, okay.
So I never got your gauge on the ending of Flash.
Yeah, I mean,
because I think where we left, they had just killed off Ralph Dibny.
Okay, yeah.
That was your highlight. You know, he was the reason we were tuning into the show.
He really was for the year. And thankfully, he returned at the end of the year, or at the end of the season in the last episode. Barry was able to bring him back. And
because we had this villain, DeVoe, who I was bored with
from the get-go.
Almost immediately.
Yeah.
And his big master plan was to shoot satellites into the sky and devolve human intelligence so everyone would become dumb, because when people are too intelligent, we fight and we build polluting machines and weapons and things. So if we were all dumbed way down to like primitive levels, the world would be saved. It's that's good thinking, pal.
Yeah, between him and was it last year we had Savitar and that whole mess?
Possibly.
Yeah, whenever the villains have not been great the last couple of years.
But I'll give him credit, that scene, because he kind of took over the powers of
all these other yeah.
And there was one scene where he was going into a facility, like fighting down that hallway.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he was using 7 or 8 different superpowers at the same time. And I think there was like classical music playing. And I'm like, that was the highlight of the season to me. That was like clever ways to use like a bunch of different powers at once and just not sweating it at all as these soldiers keep rushing him. I was like, that was excellent. I wish every show had that kind of moment in it.
Yeah, the last few 2 or 3 episodes of the season weren't bad. I was really down on it, except for the Ralph Dibny stuff for the most part. But I felt like it came around. I mean, like that last episode, I was like, okay, let's another season. Why not? Sure, let's do it. And then what was the other one?
Well, I think we're leaving that show. I think they've made that actor a regular, they said, for next season.
Yes, so he is coming back.
Ralph will be a regular.
Yeah, the kid that played Kid Flash, who this past season was mostly on Legends, he is done. He is leaving the universe as Kid Flash. So they said he's not going to no longer going to be a regular. He's going to make an appearance, I think, in the first episode next year of Legends, I think. Maybe the Flash, I can't remember. One of those.
Because he was really only a part-time member of both shows.
Yeah.
So
I don't... Whatever.
So yeah, we ended by making Ralph a steadfast member of Team Flash. Cecile had her baby.
Right.
Which was Iris's dad, Joe, his new wife. And then we had a speedster show up we didn't know anything about, with somebody from the future named Nora, revealed that she was Barry and Iris's daughter from the future. So we're doing a weird time travel family mystery next season.
And we saw the end. We saw her hand come in, and she kind of flashed and helped Barry out there at the very end. Yeah. So expect more from her.
And she's somebody in the comics. I don't know, but it's a known character. She's known.
She is known. And because we had covered Legends, I remember talking about that, because that was the whole Bebo and the Care Bear stare and all that,
and Black Lightning.
So
Supergirl was the one that kind of kept going, because it took, after Legends went off the air, Supergirl came in, and it was this Reign storyline with the 3 Kryptonian witches, and talking about a show that went on, drug a plotline on forever.
I really thought that this season for Supergirl was very subpar compared to the last couple. Like, this was kind of, for me, this was very almost on par with season 1 that was on CBS, that I didn't care much for until the very end of that run, and I kind of came around on the show as a whole. But now on Supergirl next year, because we'd introduced, Mon-El would come back, Saturn Girl, and Brainiac 5, Legion characters. Now Brainiac 5 has been announced he's going to be on next season also. So he's going to be a returning regular character.
Yeah, they sent Wynn, the tech guy, to go with the Legion into the future and switched him out with Brainiac.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. Wynn's been on the show since the beginning, but who knows.
Yeah, and Wynn has been demoted. The actor has been demoted. He is no longer a regular on the show. So
the season, had a lot of stuff with John Jones and his dad. That was pretty. Again, it went on for a while, but it ended kind of sweetly. He was facing some kind of Martian dementia where he was losing his memories and things.
And I think Michael was the one that mentioned that the actor that played his father did the voice of John Jones on the old Justice League Cartoon Network show.
Yeah, because he had such a powerful voice. Yeah, it was a good voice. But we got toward the end. There was some black rock they needed that did something kind of magical that they had to borrow from. There's a city, a Krypton city survived, Argo City, and they found it somehow, and it has this rock, and it could help them defeat. It was just, I have no idea. Somebody was talking to me like, "Oh, Supergirl was so good." And I was like, "Well, what was that black rock?" I have no idea. Like, even people who like the show were like, "I don't know what that was about." But there was an episode where somebody had the DEO. They were taking guns developed for the DEO and they used the words bump stocks and like modified them. And there was a whole issue. It was a strange like gun control episode. Yeah. And they were saying, oh, maybe the DEO shouldn't use lethal weapons. So now they're only using tasers and things. So we had a very gun control moment there. And then, again, it ended with a whole bunch of stuff going on. As the world's blown up, these Kryptonians are trying to terraform the Earth into drilling through like the core of the Earth, and things are blown up. And someone just completely left field was like, oh, good thing Superman saved Madagascar. It's like explaining why Superman wouldn't show up to help. Like he's on the other side of the planet, so at least we got a logical reason he wasn't. But John Senior. I just assume I don't know his name. He died after downloading all his memories.
Senior Martian.
Senior Manhunter. So he kind of downloads the memories of all the Martians into John. Alice gets promoted because she wants to have a baby, but is too afraid to be out in the field. So John promotes her, and then John goes to walk the Earth like Kane in Kung Fu. Mon-El goes back to the Legion just as they were having their feelings. Yeah. Kara and Mon-El. Sexy James Olsen unmasks and lets people know he's the Guardian, and nobody cares. And then it's revealed
some people care
that Lena she kept some of the evil black rocks. They can do something.
I read books and work out.
And then at the very end, what looks like they're going to set up for next season, a strange doppelganger of Kara walks up to a Siberian military base.
So we're setting up a Red Sun.
We're getting Red Sun Supergirl, basically. Some kind of,
which I'm like, cool.
Yeah, let's do it.
Bring on Rocky Balboa, and we'll take down that Soviet Union. Yeah, all those things happened.
And I diligently took notes on all of them so we wouldn't forget.
I'm glad you did. And then Arrow, I saw, is coming back again for another season. Like, every year I'm just like, this is going to be it. And somehow, some way.
And every year somebody tells me, no, it's actually a little better this year.
Every year.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? TV.
The only other thing I saw, they announced Sacha Baron Cohen is coming back to TV on Showtime. Which, hooray for people who get Showtime. That's one in my column.
You're that guy.
This is obviously the actor who did Borat and the Ali G show. So he's coming back to do something, some style of talk show or prank show. He just tweeted a couple days ago the logo to Trump University. So people are speculating, what does that mean? Did he enroll in Trump University, or what's he doing? But there's been some sightings of him dressed up as a liberal college professor from Portland as like some new character that he's going to go troll politicians or left-wing people, right-wing people, I don't know. But I think I'm sure there's people who love him and hate him, but I think when he's doing what he does well, it's really funny, and it's also really enlightening to see people react to him in certain ways. So I'm looking forward to him coming back to TV.
I would be, but I don't have Showtime.
I'll tell you all
rub that in. He's like really up on his high horse here. Him and Brad both have Showtime. All right, let's move on
to the real stuff. Streaming.
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
What?
Don't cross the streams.
Islands in the stream. That is what we are.
Cross the stream.
Streaming.
You're missing the whole point of this.
That was the whole thing. Okay, well, Glow Season 2. That was this past week, right?
I just finished it.
And did you finish it?
Yes.
Jordan? Yes. Well, the reviews are in, and everybody likes it.
Except
me.
You were the first to finish it.
Here he comes, and here comes Binge-racing. He's a demon online.
Later.
He's a demon, and he's gonna be streaming something tonight. He's often flying as he streams a show all night and day. He's jamming down the pedal like he's in a TV race.
Go Binge Racer! Go Binge Racer!
Go! Go Binge Racer! Go!
Yeah, I'm happy everybody's loving it. I just thought it was too much more of the same for me. I really liked first season though. I really liked the first season. So I really don't have anything bad to say about it. I just was pretty bored by the whole thing. I'm really sick of watching these women get like objectified and treated terribly by guys, and I know that's, I'm glad that they're shining a light on that stuff, but it's a real downer, and I just don't.
It's a lot of the show is written by, directed by women.
Yeah.
So it's obviously going that route to portray these things through a women's point of view.
Which is great. I get it, but
some of it's heavy-handed for sure.
I have heard some women saying, I get ready to get this every day. I don't need to watch it. Yeah.
I didn't know exactly how I felt about halfway through. I was kind of like, okay, it's just a lot more of the same thing.
People are raving about the 8th episode.
That
was where I was like, I almost couldn't make it through the episode. I was like,
that was their actual show they put out. Yeah, that was a long episode.
It is the one that people are going crazy for, and I'm like, I bet I could be in the mood for it and love it, but I wasn't when I watched it, and I was like, this is stupid.
I think it's like I thought it was important because I have no history with Glow.
Right.
And I don't know what, they always show them like making rap songs and stuff. So I was like, well, what do they even, so in the back of my head, I didn't even know what the show looked like or how it was structured, or how they incorporate wrestling.
It was very corny.
So it's important to show that, but it wasn't.
I felt like it was just too much. Like they showed too much of it. Like here's a whole episode.
Yeah.
I thought like if every show started with 5 minutes,
something like that,
of the show as a cold open, we could get all that out of the way, because I was doing the same thing. I was binging. It was 3:30 in the morning. Like, I really want to watch the next episode. And then when I got to that one, I'm like, I'm done for a while. And I didn't watch anything more for like 3 days. So it was a momentum killer for sure.
But Mark Maron is so good in this role. He kept me going through it. Like, I just wanted to see more Mark Maron.
Yes.
Alison Brie, I thought was, just right on par with season 1. What's the girl that plays Debbie? What's her name?
Betty Gilpin.
Betty Gilpin. She annoyed the bejesus out of me.
Cliff.
I'm sorry.
Come on, Brad, back me up.
I'll back you up, kinda. I liked her. I thought she did a good job, but it's too much more of the same.
Yeah, it was a lot of the same.
They all are doing a good job, but I don't feel like it went anywhere.
I think what annoyed me most was not even like the Debbie character, but the Liberty Bell character. I was just like, "Whoa, please stop!"
But I actually like that it's taken this long. The affair storyline. They didn't just kiss and make up, and like it's still a source of anger and all this stuff. I thought maybe your problem was not enough Rich Sommer.
I thought there was a good
but
level
he got
of Rich,
pretty good screen time.
He really did. And I like that he wasn't a creep.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so easy. That could have been so easily written. He could have been so stereotypical role, and you never would have blinked an eye, but that was not who the character was. And I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Friend of the pod. Rich Sommer.
Yeah, I mean, overall, once I finally got the last episode, I was like, man, I almost could have watched another episode or two. Like, I was really enjoying it by the end of it. And like I said, I think the things I liked outweighed a lot of the stuff I didn't like, or people I didn't like.
Well, you have the popular opinion, so I think I'm wrong.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think the 3 main characters probably all deserve Emmys. Mark Maron killed it. Every scene he was in made me laugh hysterically. And they softened him up a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah.
Like, they gave him some depth.
He goes on a journey with the daughter.
Yeah, he started to connect with the daughter, started to connect with the girls, which he didn't want to. That was his whole point, is like, keep everyone at arm's length.
Right.
But it didn't make him a big old softy, and that kiss toward the end, I'm like, don't. And then it did so good. I'm being vague.
Yeah.
There were a couple things I should have wrote them down, but I was in a hurry, that they did not wrap up. I remember thinking, like, whatever happened to this storyline?
There was a lot of plot lines going on because they tried to give more characters things to do.
That's where those were the things I was getting, like, coming out of paying attention, thinking I couldn't care less about this.
Yeah.
Like having rabid fans or something, you know, a certain character. Like, it was interesting the first season when, like, the wild girl, you know, seeing what's happening with her, why she's like this and stuff. And then this season, I'm like, I don't care anymore. I just don't care.
Well, there were a few things that I don't know. I just wish they could have delved into.
It's one thing Brad never says.
But, like, Bash, there was a storyline with Bash that I was expecting to take off. You know, when they're in the club.
I like him. Yeah, I like that guy.
And I thought, here, we're going to really get into this stuff. And they just kind of left it hanging.
It was subtle, and shows like that usually aren't subtle.
Right.
And especially the Bash storyline was a little more subtle than you're used to. But he, like, again, the first season, he was just the funny guy who's had a couple good lines. Mm-hmm. And this season, we got so much more with him that he's one of my favorite characters now. Yeah. So, again, like 8 of the other wrestlers, I don't care about their backstory or how they're feeling. I'm with you on that. Like, just get to the other stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's nice to expand the world a little bit.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Something else on Netflix. If you like true crime shows, The Staircase is on there now, and that's a famous doc series from 10 years ago. It was really big, and now Netflix made 3 new episodes updating the case. It's in 2001, a woman, Kathleen Peterson, died supposedly falling down the stairs.
But if you listen to this podcast, you know how it happened. Well, Michael's cracked this case. Do you remember?
No, I forget.
Cliff, do you remember?
No, not at all.
He was the only one of us who watched the show Trial and Error with John Lithgow.
Yeah.
It was
I remember that show.
It was a courtroom show about a guy who just seemed obviously guilty and kept doing things. And Michael loved it, and he told us how it ended. He's like, it's based on a real case, and this is the case. So I know, I've been told that they don't get into the craziness that the sitcom did. There's apparently some extra wrinkle to this, but yeah, I won't spoil the true story.
Well, yeah, there's no way. It's a true story, so you don't know exactly what really happened. But her husband was accused of killing her, and it was a big trial that went on for years, and it's really interesting. It's up there as one of those good true crime things, and there's been developments since the original series that they made 3 more episodes on. So If you like that kind of stuff, that's a pretty good one. Sticking to Netflix. Ozark. We all saw and liked Ozark, right? Did you watch Ozark?
I watched some of it, yeah.
Some of it.
My wife watched the whole series. I only caught a few episodes.
Outstanding. I love it.
It was good.
Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
Laura Linney. It's coming back. Second season sooner than I thought it was going to be. August 31st. We're going to get the second season. So.
I'm never going to finish Daredevil.
No.
There's just so much new stuff constantly.
Well, speaking of that, Cliff sent us a message today, see if we've been watching Cage Season 2.
Cage.
And
take it away, Cliff.
Yeah,
Carl Lucas.
We're not. This is finally this is the first one that I'm just not even going to watch of these Marvel shows. I'm
still on the Marvel shows.
Because you love Marvel.
Yeah, it is known. No, I really enjoyed Luke Cage Season 1. I thought it was, of all the shows, it was the most different. Like, it really had a feel to it. The cinematography of it was gritty, and it was just, really focused in on Harlem and all these characters of Harlem. And I love how in Season 2, even more, everybody has a cool nickname. Like, there's Piranha and Comanche and, Shades. All these cool nicknames. I'm like, yeah, this is like a comic book. Except for Luke. But I'm on season 2, episode 5. I'm on to 6 now. And so far, I have really enjoyed it. It's a lot of continuation from season 1, picks up right where we left off. We've got more Night Nurse. We've got Luke going into a darker place in the first few episodes of this, and it introduces where before Miranda and the Stokes, Copperhead. Copperhead and Cottonmouth were two of the main villains, and this year we have the Bushmaster. And I was
got a real serpent society.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening here? But yeah, we've got a bunch of Jamaican gangs members running around and trying to take Luke out, and
Power Mom.
But yeah, I mean, maybe it's not for everybody, but I highly enjoyed Luke Cage.
Well, let us know when you finish the season.
It's got some. It holds up. Yeah, we're back into Harlem's Paradise. It's got some great music playing in there with the blues and some Jamaican riffs and stuff. It's a cool show.
I watched a series on Amazon Prime that I was going to tell you guys I don't know if you have any interest, but it stars Rachel Brosnahan, who had a small role on House of Cards, and Alex Borstein from Mad TV, and she plays like a 60s housewife whose husband is interested in being a comedian, big fan of Lenny Bruce, and but he's not really any good, and turns out she's the funny one, and she's really good in it. It's just a really good season, of her becoming a comic, and it's already been greenlighted for season 3, so season 2 must be coming out really soon.
You didn't give us the name.
I'm sorry. It is.
Just figure it out.
I think it's the Marvelous Ms. Maisel.
Yeah, I think she won the Emmy last year.
Oh, did she?
Actress.
I didn't know that. I just watched it a few weeks ago and really liked it.
Capturing the zeitgeist of, more stories about females.
Yeah, bring it on.
And overcoming stupid men.
Yeah, it was good. Also, update. This was a few weeks ago this was announced, but again, updating the continuing saga of Locke and Key ever coming to the small screen.
He's holding out hope.
They were, when I asked Joe Hill, when I saw him there in Charleston.
Resting your hand in his back pocket.
Yeah, I said, what's up? And are you going to write World War Key? I want the comic is what I want. I want more comic. And So he said, when Hulu comes out with a show, that's when I want to be putting out a comic again. And I was like, okay. So then Hulu dropped it, and they made a pilot and everything. They had Donald Glover.
So these are two different. They've done two different pilots.
Well, they did that. Well, they did the pilot.
They
for
did
Fox
pilot years ago,
2011.
So there's 2 episodes out there.
Yeah, and there's now they have the pilot on Hulu, and Andy Muschietti, the It director, was the one that did that. And like I said, they had Danny Glover and everything in it. It looked like it was, going to be a thing, but no, they're scrapping the whole thing, starting from scratch. But it's picked up by Netflix now, and Netflix follows through with stuff. So I'm crossing my fingers. They're gonna redo the whole thing, I guess.
They'll put anything on the air.
That's
exactly.
right.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah,
because Joe Hill sent out a newsletter this past week saying, if this happens, I am going to do that comic. So it's like, and I really want to do it, but I want to have a reason. I want to know people will be interested in it. So anyway,
I was really hoping Michael was going to be here today so we could talk some Voltron. Because I think him and I are the only ones that have watched every season of this. So season 6 dropped
any
season. Yeah. So season 6 on Netflix dropped of Voltron.
Wait, Brett's watched it.
Brett? Oh. And man, this story has really gone a lot of places. The animation's still wonderful. It still feels very, very 1980s, which of course I love it for that. But this last season it got a little darker. By this time Keith has kind of moved on, and he's with this kind of militant group, battling the kind of secret society, almost battling the Golra Empire on their own. And
I needed a new ringtone.
And Shiro, the first paladin of the Black Lion, he's back, and there's a big major twist towards the end of the season where we learn his fate and what has happened to him, what they did to him, as he betrays the Voltron team. And Keith comes back, and we've added some supporting characters, some family members throughout the series. There's been brothers and fathers found, and mothers found this season of one of the characters. And we found some Altans, like Princess Allura. So anyways, long story short, it's really good still. Mike would say best Marvel movie animated, so I'm going to stick with that. Brad thinks that too.
All right.
Well, I have been sucked into a new a documentary series that I saw decades ago.
Ooh.
And Netflix just put back out, Joseph Campbell and the Power of Myth. This was a PBS 6-hour-long episodes with Bill Moyers, the journalist, from 1988. They filmed it at Skywalker Ranch because Joseph Campbell is the philosopher George Lucas credits with helping structure Star Wars, and what Luke undergoes the hero's journey, which is the thing. Mr. Campbell, his books, The Hero with 1,000 Faces and The Masks of God, he did all this comparative study of different religions, the world mythologies, and they all share this common baseline. And a lot of it is, basically what Luke goes to. It's, you start with an innocent person, any story in the heroic tradition, and then, you're called to adventure, and at first you reject the call, but then you have to go, and then you're aided by some supernatural force, like Ben Kenobi. You're granted a mystical weapon, like King Arthur's Excalibur or something like that. So Luke gets a Scott. So, and then atonement with the Father, the belly of the whale. There's just all these benchmarks, and Star Wars just checks them off. George Lucas just went basically step by step. That's why it feels so mythic and so eternal, and so like It feels like an old story, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Like I've heard that somewhere.
But it's... I was a sucker for mythology growing up, and I took several religion classes in college, and I've always loved this stuff. And it's 6 hours of just two old guys talking, but it's just really fascinating. And Joseph Campbell is just such a good storyteller, and also so good at, his most famous line is "follow your bliss," which can be kind of new agey, hippie, just do what makes you happy. But that's basically what it is. There are outside forces that are always
can't do that.
Well, yeah.
You can't follow the carbs.
Yeah, carbs are my bliss. But yeah, there's always outside forces aligned against you to keep you from, getting your mind, body, and soul aligned to what you should be doing. And that's people just need to follow your bliss. But I loved the idea he talked about there being basically 3 levels of consciousness or whatever. And I as a struggling writer, I know this to be 100% true. That the first is this unknowable thing that's out there. There's some kind of infinite soul or God or some great mystery in the world that we can't even fathom or understand.
You know that? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
I want to make sure I connected that.
100%.
Okay.
There's something that we don't, that's beyond us. And the second are thoughts and feelings.
Right.
Where you think about that thing, but you can't ever you can't ever ponder exactly what it is. And the third stage are words, where you try to describe it and explain it, and it's always really clumsy. So I know exactly that feeling in trying to write a story, where there's something out there you want to capture in your story, like some idea you want to tell a story about freedom or some kind of esoteric thing that nobody can quite disagree on exactly what it is. And then you have these thoughts about it, those are the kind of thoughts I have. And then when you try to put them into words...
Blank screen.
Yeah, it never works. Because you never can quite capture... Because you're 3 levels away from what it actually is. And that's what he's saying. All of world mythology and religion are the words trying to get to the feeling, trying to get to the unknowable.
Right.
And that's
everybody's
so amazing.
Separately trying to get the same place.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so many different religions.
Exactly.
Saying,
yeah.
Huh. Man, I love a good PBS doc. I do.
Who's he talking to?
Bill Moyers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you said that. Okay. I know the name.
He's been a journalist for a lot of years. He's still around, occasionally pops up and does things. But yeah, I remember watching this in college and reading some of Joseph Campbell's books and just loving it and thinking, this is such a, not simplified, because there's some deep thoughts involved. Do we have a deep thought drop? But,
No.
You gotta get on the ball.
One job.
But yeah, it's like bite-sized theology, basically. It's a way to you can sit and watch this on Netflix and it might spark something you hadn't thought of before and make you feel more connected with the world and your environment and your fellow brother and sister.
I'm interested. I screenshotted the message when you brought it up the other day, and I was like,
Okay.
I will watch that someday. Speaking of one job, let's do it.
One job forever?
Look, I have one job on this lousy ship. It's stupid, but I'm gonna do it, okay?
You talker. You had one job to do.
Okay, I'm going to explain it one more time because I don't know if we've been super clear that this is how this works.
I feel like there's a new rule every week.
No new rule. We're picking someone, some sort of artist, and we picked one thing that they've done, one role if they're an actor, or one thing they created, and that is all that will survive. And we're picking the best thing, as you said, that would go on their tombstone as their greatest creation. And everything else is gone from the Ka-Pow universe.
And Coach Mayer said he really liked this segment.
I'm glad.
It really makes you think because you have to wonder. He was very
well. I would like him
on
to.
board.
I would like him to secretly send me a suggestion.
I have a couple that I've been.
Okay, well here's what I was going to tell you. You guys come up with somebody tonight because you're always giving me hell because I picked somebody. So what is it?
Do you have one, Jordan?
Jordan, whichever one you guys want to pick.
I can if you don't, but
go ahead. I'll save mine.
Well, we were talking about Yellowstone, and a couple weeks back, Seth said he didn't like old Kevin Costner. So I thought, I wonder what kind of young Kevin Costner he likes. So you want to do Kevin Costner?
Let's do it. Okay, let me pull him up here. There is plenty to choose from.
Yeah, long career, very steadily working.
Oh, Batman versus Superman.
Right off the
bat. Okay, let's start getting the Wayback Machine here. Oh my gosh, he's been in so much stuff. This may take a while. I didn't get to prepare. I'm just kidding. Okay.
I have a speech.
Kevin
Costner's that type of actor. One must. No, I don't really have a speech.
Okay, we got
Brad. What do you think?
Swing Vote. That was one. Dragonfly. Did anybody ever see that?
I think so.
I remember watching it. It's one of those stumble across it somewhere.
I don't even remember what it's about, but I feel like I've seen it.
His wife dies, and he keeps having like these feelings like she's trying to tell him something, and he keeps getting drawn back to somewhere. And at the end, there's like a crazy twist to it, and I was like, "Oh, that was neat." And I've never watched it again. I think Kathy Bates was in it too. It's probably 15 years old. Message in a Bottle, Revenge, For the Love of the Game, 3,000 Miles to Graceland, 10 Cup. I'm going to jot that down just for a second. That was fun. Wyatt Earp, The Postman, Waterworld, Silverado, 13 Days, No Way Out. I'm sure he's in a bunch of romantic comedies. Open Range with what's his name? What's the guy from The Godfather? Open Range. Lonesome Dove.
Oh yeah.
I can't think.
Robert.
Yeah, Robert Duvall.
I tell you something I really did.
You're going to say Draft Day, aren't you? Is it about the Browns?
No, but that's something. No, what was the name of the Hatfields and McCoy series?
Hatfields and McCoy.
Oh,
yeah, because we could go TV or big
sure.
One thing, one role is what we're picking for him. Yeah, Bodyguard, Bull Durham.
Oh my gosh!
Perfect World, Big Chill. He was like the guy in the coffin. I think Robin Hood. Yeah, Waterworld, Untouchables. He was Elliot Ness. JFK. Molly's Game. I hated him in that. Hidden Figures. He was in Field of Dreams.
Yep.
What are you guys feeling? What's that?
What was the seventh from last one you said?
Oh my gosh. I had no idea.
I think JFK is very good, but it's not one I rewatch a lot.
No, I've never rewatched it.
Untouchables is a fine movie. Yeah. There was one more you said I liked, but I kind of forgot.
The one, I don't know. We got Field of Dreams, Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves.
That would probably be the most mainstream thing. One,
that was an
Oscar winner.
Yeah, huge movie.
I never loved it.
I didn't either. Man.
My personal pick, if I had just one job to give him.
That's what we're doing here.
I gotta go Field of Dreams. That's my movie. I watch that every year before baseball season starts.
Really?
It's that manly, get in touch with your emotions kind of movie. I think it's hilarious too. James Earl Jones is hilarious. I'm blanking on the lady who plays his wife, but she's really good. Timothy Busfield is good. But that's his...
Ray Liotta.
Is he in that?
Yeah, he's...
Joe. Joe. Okay.
Joe Jackson.
Yeah, there's Ghost. I forgot.
Otherwise, it's just a guy in a cornfield.
I've never seen the end.
Every year before baseball game, Jordan goes and stands in a cornfield.
But yeah, that's one of those movies. Yeah, that's one of those all-time classics for me.
Man, I expected one to really jump out at me because I think of him as somebody I like, but there's not one that I'm just like, I have to say I really like The Untouchables. I think he's great in that. It's a great movie. I'm not seeing any of these that I'm just like, he's the best thing ever.
Dances with Wolves is, as soon as you said that, I thought, oh man, that could be it right there. He has a lot of screen time in that movie. And again, I mean, and that was a huge hit for a reason. Like I always thought his performance in that movie was really good.
I just don't think the movie holds up.
I haven't seen it in many years.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't have anything to argue with you about that. If this is one that's important to you, I like Field of Dreams. I like a good drama. Yeah. Feel good. I think
that is a movie I watched over and over and over as a kid.
I think one of his movies that I honestly think, Wyatt Earp is pretty good. As far as, Tombstone is amazing.
Yeah. It's just in the shadow of Tombstone.
Right. And it is in the shadow of that, but still, it is a very good rendition of the same thing. And I really love that movie too. But another movie of his I've always loved is No Way Out.
Remind me of that one.
That's I may be crazy. Was Gene Hackman in that? Maybe, I'm not sure. Let me look here real quick. This is the one where he is a naval officer, and he spends the whole movie, they're trying to find out who this Russian spy is in the agency, and he's running around. Yeah, Gene Hackman's in there. They've kind of narrowed it down. They've got a picture of him. There's a picture printing out of who it is, and he's running around investigating it and talking to everybody and stuff. And I'm just going to go and spoil it. Big spoilers for No Way Out, 25 years ago. He's the guy. He's the Russian spy. And it's a great twist when you rethink the movie in your head. What was happening? What was he really doing? It's really good. So I prefer that movie. Just, it's a little higher on my list, but I totally have the nostalgia for Field of Dreams. I think that would be my vote.
Field of Dreams. Jordan says Field of Dreams.
And again, Untouchables I think is a great film, but there's two actors in it who I think are better than Kevin Costner.
Right, Sean Connery's great.
Who are stealing the show in every scene. So Kevin Costner is just kind of the straight man in that one.
Tin Cup's funny.
Yeah. It's no Field of Dreams.
No.
Build it, Ray.
So
they will come, Ray.
I like how you read lines. Your line reads are great. Funny you should ask that, Seth. Everybody remembers that line reading.
I texted Michael and he said just a sec about 5 minutes ago. So I'm sure he's IMDb'ing.
He's probably running up and down the bridge.
It's going to be a 3-1 vote, whatever it is. Let's try to predict. Let's spend that time while we're waiting trying to predict.
He'll say Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves.
No, I don't think so. Let me see.
Or he'll one of the romantic comedies.
Man of Steel.
He might.
Yeah, well, it will be probably one. He'll look at Christy's shelf at all of her romantic if he's going to answer, rumor has it.
Oh my gosh. Remember, my wife has made me watch that several times.
See? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's it. We just put it through. So, forever, the only thing that Kevin Costner...
America has rolled on like an army of steamrollers, but Kevin Costner only made one movie. And it was Field of Dreams.
That's right. We did it. I feel good about that one.
God.
What? What is it?
It's my father. Ease his pain.
Go the distance.
It was you.
No, Ray. It was you.
saw him years later when he was worn down by life. Look at him. He's got his whole life in front of him, and I'm not even a glint in his eye. What do I say to him?
Why don't you introduce him to his granddaughter?
Hi.
Hi.
Just wanted to thank you folks for putting up this field, letting us play here. I'm John Kinsella.
I'm Ray. My wife, Annie. This is my daughter, Karen. Karen, this is John.
Hi, John.
Hiya, Karen.
Well, we're gonna let you two talk. I mean, if all these people are gonna come, we got a lot of work to do. It's very nice meeting you.
Well,
come on in.
Catch a good game.
Thank you. So beautiful here. For me, it's like a dream come true. Can I ask you something? Is this heaven?
It's Iowa.
Iowa?
Yeah.
Could have sworn it was heaven.
Is there a heaven?
Oh, yeah. It's the place dreams come true.
Maybe this is heaven.
Good night, Ray.
Good night, John. Hey, Dad? You want to have a catch?
I'd like that.
All right, let's talk some comics.
Maybe. It's playing too much other stuff.
How can you read this? There's no pictures.
Well, some people use their imagination.
Well, I must hurry back to my comic book store where I dispense the insults rather than absorb them.
Happens all the time. Read a comic book, okay?
What do you got?
Just about half an hour ago, it came across that Steve Ditko passed away at the age of 90.
Wow.
One of the original Marvel bullpen artists, co-creator with Stan Lee of many heroes from Marvel and DC, actually. Co-created Spider-Man and stayed on the art for 38 issues. until he had some problems with Stan and left. Also involved Doctor Strange, The Creeper, Ted Kord, Shade the Changing Man, The Question, Captain Atom, Hawk and Dove, Speedball, Squirrel Girl, and many of your other favorites. Anyone in the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery for the first 38 issues. All the mystical Doctor Strange characters, just, created tons and tons of characters.
We should have done Steve Ditko. What was the best thing he created?
Spider-Man, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's easy. Well, they didn't have a cause of death as of when the article was written, and they said he has no known survivors, has no known relatives, is an utter recluse, hasn't had a picture taken of him since the 60s. He's done work over the years, but he doesn't do public appearances, certainly doesn't do a Comic-Con. He went to one in like the early 60s and was like, what is this about? And just bailed on it all. Just wanted to be known for his art. Did not want, famously, was very much for creators' rights, and that was part of his argument with Marvel and why he left, but didn't want anything to do with, the movie hoopla or the big, merchandising of all that stuff. So read up about Mr. Ditko because he's a fascinating person, very famous objectivist philosophy that Ayn Rand came up with. He was an ardent follower of that, and that's half of where Spider-Man came from, was this philosophy of rational self-interest, where you do what's right for you, and doing good to others gives you no reward. So that was Spider-Man's entire life, that helping people didn't help him. His life just got worse and worse and worse. So Ditko's fingerprints are all over that and all over mainstream comics. And yeah, if you don't know anything about him, I would definitely take this week to give him a little love. And certainly Jack Kirby was the first artist they approached for Spider-Man and drew him as a big buff hero, and Stan wanted a scrawny teenager, and that's where Steve Ditko came in and drew him awkward, big glasses, scrawny kid. So yeah, he definitely, this is the reason Spider-Man exists,
I always I hate thinking about those alternate realities where Kirby is the one that draws Spider-Man. It's like, it sounds good at the beginning, but it would be a totally different thing.
Yeah.
What's hot?
Well, I don't know. We probably should have led off the show this. We had Perlmutter news.
Oh my gosh. We did kind of.
It's not ready at all.
We did kind of have a Perlmutter Appleseed thing going on.
You keep springing it on me.
You just gotta learn. You're just gonna have to add these.
A new lawsuit.
Ooh, put those tinfoil hats on, everybody.
Alright. Harold Peerenboom is suing him for allegedly sending the court filing to the Hollywood Reporter.
Yeah, I read this.
And breaking news that should not have been broken at that point. So, if you're longtime listeners of the show, we have a fascination with Marvel CEO Isaac Perlmutter.
Ike to us.
Ike. He is a real life supervillain.
Perlmutter.
And there have been
Perlmutter. Never stop.
I've never had things like that. So there's been these lawsuits that involve tennis pros and DNA theft. Go back to the archives, listen to that episode. It's in our 100th clip show.
Yeah.
We went into lots of detail. So basically, there's been a defamation case in a Florida court against Perlmutter for allegedly doing all this hate mail against this guy Peerenboom, who's another billionaire, and smearing him and saying he's a Nazi sympathizer and he's murdered people, and they sent out all these random letters to friends and clients of his.
All over a tennis court dispute.
Right, of who was hired as who
was running the
resort tennis pro. Yeah. So Perlmutter did a counterclaim and accused Peerenboom of a secret plot to harvest his DNA, and that was a fun story.
This is why Cliff and I have not put a tennis court in between our houses.
That's right.
Because we don't want to get into
It's inevitable.
It would end poorly.
Yes.
So now Peerenboom is alleging that Perlmutter committed defamation again. And that the Perlmutters knowingly made false claims and defamatory statements in their filing of the prior suit. So he's suing him over the last lawsuit.
Right.
But then they publicized the suit before it was filed with the court to the Hollywood Reporter. And he says it's with the intent of causing Peerenboom harm, and because they're going to report on this, and it's going to make him look bad.
Even though we're the only ones really interested in it.
The podcasts are all over this.
They're talking directly to us.
So Peerenboom's alleging the statements in the filing were false, and that Perlmutter has since testified under oath that he did not believe the allegations. He was just spouting them to hurt his reputation. And according to the complaint, the quote, defendants published these false statements in May 2017 and thereafter knowingly and intentionally, both through email to third parties and by sending the false statements to the Hollywood Reporter with the knowledge and intent that they would republish them widely to the public. Just like Ka-Pow, the Pop Culture Podcast would.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like the first lawsuit of the many lawsuits is scheduled to go into trial this autumn.
I've lost track.
Yeah,
they have sued each other so many times back and forth.
So we're finally going to get into a courtroom.
I can't wait.
And Perlmutter has not spoken publicly in literally decades. We only got our first photo of him recently Trump. Because he was in the Trump administration. So he's probably going to take the stand, and we're going to get some.
Oh, it's going to be gold.
Some prime
podcast gold.
Some prime Perlmutter audio.
I hope he has some crazy voice too to go along with it.
It's a squeaky one.
Yeah, so just in case anyone hasn't listened back to the back catalog, the big joke, the first, we've been talking about this guy for like 2.5 years, really. It's one of the first things I can ever remember us really talking about and sticking with. So that's a running joke on the podcast that if somebody tries to steal your DNA, you've been Perlmuttered.
Right. Perlmutter. Perlmutter. Now that was our original first drop too.
It was the first one.
Like I was like, get this, okay, make that into something.
And still the best.
And it's still the best. Still the best. All right.
I should have quit when I was ahead.
Really, it's been all downhill. Slight jump for Sex and James Olsen when that one popped up. I was like, that was a good one.
Do we want to start with how DC is doing something cool or doing something stupid?
But
we're going to get to both.
Okay, go cool, because I don't want to forget about that.
Okay, DC streaming. We got a lot more information on the app they're putting out. And they announced there are going to be digital comics involved. We already knew there were going to be TV shows. We're getting the live action Titans,
right?
Animated Swamp Thing, Doom Patrol, Harley Quinn.
Oh my gosh!
And it said exclusive content, and with creators and different merchandise you can only get on there. So they've gone all out for this, and now on top of that, they're adding digital comics and a rotating curated selection. So it's not going to be, Marvel already has Unlimited and people are just waiting, when is DC going to have theirs? Which is, a digital Netflix is what people call, or, digital comic Netflix for digital comics. And so people have been waiting.
Everybody's saying that.
Yeah. It's so easy to say. So everybody's been waiting for DC to figure out theirs, and here comes DC saying, oh, you want digital comics? Well, here's a bunch of content and new shows.
We don't have to go to a comic book store anymore.
Yeah. So
Jordan just quit selling comics and start charging it. Just get your subscription. Just start charging admission. Everybody can use my account.
Just log in.
$15. Yeah.
But they put out a big press release that had a bunch of buzzwords, and it's going to include native untethered access across devices from a smartphone or tablet to a living room screen rendered in vivid detail. So it's going to be again, they said rotating, so it's not just going to be every comic ever made, and it's not going to be new stuff. It's just going to be, vintage stuff. And I'm sure it'll rotate, when the Harley Quinn animated thing premieres, it'll be tons of Harley Quinn comics. You can read old Suicide Squads and old Batman stories. And I'm sure anytime a new DC movie comes out, they'll, get you involved like that.
But I thought, when I first read it, I thought, well, this is different. This is not what I expected out of this service. I just thought television shows.
Yeah.
So it definitely adds something to it. It's not going to stop me from going down and buying comics, off the shelf, but it's a cool thing.
I've never been able to get into digital comics at all. Well, I've read a few things, but it's not the same to me.
I think, if you just wanted to, I was curious about that. When was that guy's first appearance or something like that, but yeah, I've never been able to read long stretches of comics that way.
I will say this, and just having this thought, there's a high percentage of what they call fans today that don't go out and collect the comics. They go watch a YouTube channel of somebody telling them what was in this comic.
Yeah.
This may be a way for them to actually go back and read some of this stuff rather than have somebody just bark it out at them.
I hear people talking, that they actually use like that Marvel thing to read all kinds of stuff. I just don't enjoy it as much. I'd rather have a trade of it or something.
Yeah, we joke, but I don't think this is going to compete with me for customers because, like you said, these customers aren't going to the shop every week anyway.
Right.
Yeah. These are people who, they love the content, they love the characters. This could be the first comics they ever read, just because they really love Harley Quinn or something like that.
Right,
so,
and a lot of that can introduce them to a series that they'll go pick up physically.
And again, they haven't announced a price yet. You can sign up for a free trial, it said. I don't know if there's some kind of waiting list for the beta or whatnot. I'm guessing it'll be around $10 a month. That seems to be what most of these are.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would pay that because I'm cheap, but they're giving you a lot of content. It's cool.
It depends on the quality of the shows. I mean, I've seen some stills just from that have leaked out from Titans or they put out from Titans. Some of it looks really cool, and then I've seen some other stuff that I'm like, whoa, that looks that's below Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
The Robin costume I thought looked great.
Yeah. But then you take a look at the girl playing Starfire, and I'm like, what is going on? It's just...
But it draws me back to my childhood, and I remember thinking, look at all these cable channels. Like, wouldn't that'd be cool to have like a comic channel?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was already programming it. I'm like, all morning long you can play cartoons, you play Super Friends, or you can play the X-Men cartoon. Throughout the day you play the Incredible Hulk reruns. At night then you play a movie. And then late night you have like a talk show or hosted by Wizard Magazine where they talk with creators and things. Like, man, I wonder if there'd be enough content to ever fill 24 hours. Like, it was me thinking that'll never happen. There'll never be that much content. But now we can go specifically just DC and have enough content. Like I said, they're going to play old movies and old shows too. So those you're going to get archive stuff too, not just the original content. So,
right. Well, it's coming.
So hooray for DC.
Now what? What they do now?
DC, what have you done? This is old news probably, but the DC Walmart exclusives we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
These are 100-page giants. You can only get at Walmart. They're doing 4 a month. Batman, Superman, Justice League, and Teen Titans. They're 100 pages long for $4.99. And most of it is reprint stuff from different eras. But there are 12 original pages every issue. And retailers were not happy about that. Because retailers aren't happy about many things. They're not available on Walmart.com, and you can't get them digitally. And the first few issues, it's just I think it was maybe Jimmy Palmiotti and a few, like, people you've heard of, but not big superstars. But I think starting in issue 3, we're getting Brian Michael Bendis doing a Batman story, 12 issues long, and Tom King doing a Superman story. Now, these are the two biggest bullets that DC has. And this is the first, well, it's not the first Bendis Superman or Batman. He did like a Legends of the Dark Knight years ago, but nobody remembers that. So, but it's technically the first Brian Bendis, long form Batman story.
Yeah.
And Tom King, people, everything he touches turns to gold here recently. So people are very excited about these books, and they're not going to be able to get them at their local shops. So retailers have been, floating conspiracies that what DC, you have stabbed us in the back, or Walmart's trying to destroy the direct market, and then they'll start selling comics after we've all gone out of business. And it's a little bit reactionary.
Yeah, that's unlikely, but it is. I agree with the first part. It's like you have this relationship with these comic book shops, and you're just screwing them over for Walmart.
So everybody, when it first came out, was like, no, we're not trying to take your customers. Because again, if you spend $5 at Walmart, that's $5 less. There are not infinite $5 out there.
Right.
That's $5 less you're spending at my store. So, and then like a week later, Dan Didio, his title changes every time, but he's bigwig at DC. We're putting new stories in there to attract the current fan base, and our best reprinted stories to bring in the more casual fan. So he came right out and said it. They're trying to attract comic store readers to go get these. And I said, I just didn't understand if it's great they're in Walmart. I love comics being elsewhere. I'd like to see spinner racks back in those kind of stores. I didn't think it was ever going to happen again. So I think it's really cool what's happening, but I just didn't understand the exclusive part.
Mm-hmm.
And if these are meant for kids or for moms to pick up a book, like, they don't care who Brian Michael Bendis is.
Yeah.
Why are they paying his page rate and marketing, and multi-part stories? Are the kids going to come back next month to buy part 2 of the story?
Yeah, this sounds very Walmart.
Yeah, the only people that are going to come back are the comic shop people.
Right.
That are going to make sure they get every one of them.
And, I don't know. I'm not a big Walmart fan. I don't really shop at Walmart. So this, to me, is very just Walmart, their MO right here. I mean, this is what they do.
It takes 2 to tango.
I understand that, and that's why I don't shop there.
I mean, if they take their money,
Well, these things are already flipping on eBay for, twice the price. And the maddest retailers I saw online were going to Walmart and buying them out of stock and being like, I hit every Walmart within 3 hours of me, and now they got nothing left. Take that, Walmart. And then Walmart said, we've been really pleased with the sales. We're upping our orders for number 2. Like, you're not hurting Walmart.
Nope.
They don't care if you're scalping them or where. I think you're just hurting that potential casual fan who, I'm sure there's a comic shop locator address or phone number in there to find your shop if they read like, wow, this Batman guy is kind of cool. I'd like to read more. So, I don't know. I think in the long run it's positive, but there's just been a lot of backlash and hurt feelings and negative reactions and overreactions. But I saw some pictures. They're not putting him in the book section or the magazine section. They're shoved in with the trading cards and Pokemon cards and Magic cards and sports memorabilia and stuff. So they're shelving him with the quote unquote collectibles instead of the magazines and the kids' books and stuff. So,
or even the toys.
Yeah, or that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, personally, someone that's worked retail, that's where I would have put them.
Yeah.
We've got 8
rows
foot
and rows, yeah.
Right, 8 foot of Marvel toys here, and 2 feet of comic books or whatever. Huh.
And then DC this week put out Batman number 50.
Yes.
Has everyone been spoiled?
Nope. Tell me though. You can spoil it.
Oh, I'm gonna spoil it.
Yeah. So this was leaked out.
Yeah, Batman number 50 was the wedding issue. And Tom King has been building that, the writer has been building to this story for as long as he's been on the book, 50 issues. And it came out...
What was the build? Tell me 50 issues.
Batman, I guess I got to spoil 50 issues worth.
Yeah.
Batman is marrying Catwoman.
Right.
She has renounced her evil ways and he realizes they can't live without each other. And they have done stories leading up to it. Joker found out he wasn't invited and went on a rampage. They did 5 prequel issues, prelude to the wedding. They released a playlist on Spotify for the reception people could download. They had a midnight release for retailers. They had like cake toppers. You could download a graphic if you wanted to buy a cake. and serve wedding cake to all your customers.
See, that's fun though.
That is fun.
It's wonderful.
And it kind of irritates me that I asked you a couple weeks ago, is there a midnight release for something? We could do something.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not baking a cake. I can't even afford to buy Walmart comic books.
So, I spent all my money driving to Walmart in 7 states. No, so that book is coming out July 4th. Well, on July 1st in the New York Times, on that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's 4 days before the book comes out, in print, the headline was, Holy Matrimony, Batman. Well, not quite. And online, the headline was, It just wasn't meant to be, Batman. So, the New York Times spoiled that the wedding didn't go off 4 days before the book came out.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And I said, if you're just reading the story, it was a fine story. And Tom King came out and said, listen, he has a 100-issue plan. He wants to stay on the book for 100 issues. He's like, this is just the halfway point of my plan. Please stick with me.
Yeah.
Like, Selena, to fully spoil it, she realized that she was making Bruce Wayne happy. And Batman can't be happy and be effective. He has to be in pain and have rage and can't be content. So she sacrificed her love so that Gotham would still have a Batman. And she flew the coop. And it's a fine story. And then the very last page, which the newspaper didn't spoil, throws everything back to basically issue 1, that Tom King had been planning this. And there's a cool twist, and it's like, oh wow, exciting. So the casual readers, while they didn't get a wedding, they got a pretty good story.
Mm-hmm.
But the trouble is, there's no civilians coming looking for it. Because a wedding in a comic book is kind of a big deal. And I said DC Promotions made a big deal out of it. And I've got the issue where Lois and Clark get married. I've got the issue where Peter and Mary Jane get married. Like, they're just milestones in comics, and they don't happen very often for these very well-known characters.
I've got the Hank and Wasp.
Janet, So they cut us off at the knees with this book by not having a wedding, and I doubled my orders on it because I knew it was a big deal. And a lot of stores did variant cover. You know, they went overboard on the variant covers.
Yeah, because there were gobs of
I was trying to remember
variant covers.
How I feel like I remember USA Today or somebody spoiling Cap dying.
But I think that was like the day it happened. It was like the
It
morning.
definitely wasn't days before.
That was one of the craziest days.
In fact, people
in my
ran
history.
in for that because they didn't know it was going to happen. Yeah.
That was completely hidden, and I was blindsided by it. And that was one of the wildest days.
Yeah, that was 11 years ago. Yeah, wow. Because I remember that happened like in May or something of that year of 2007.
I was just a novice back then.
And my granddad
still
died
videos
on July 4th that summer.
Yeah.
I read the 3-part story of where we talked earlier about Booster Gold going back and saving Bruce's parents and the gift.
That was pretty,
the gift it was called.
Did Tom King write that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really good. It was dark, but and the way he wrote Booster Gold was a little off to me. It just wasn't Dan Jurgens, but it was really good, and I was looking forward to this wedding issue coming out. And then I saw the spoiler, and I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
so you're what you'd call a casual Batman fan,
right?
And you're just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I was going to buy one for my collection.
Yeah. As
a historical landmark. And it may happen in issue 100. I don't know. Right. But it's going to be hard to get retailers excited again because there's been talk of, can we sue DC for false advertising? Because if you bought a store exclusive variant, which is, I commission art and this cover you can only buy through me or my website.
But you're doing it because you know you're getting a landmark issue.
And you've got to buy 500 or 1,000 copies to get this special variant as a retailer. You're feeling pretty betrayed because that's not a special issue now. So and it happened 2 weeks after X-Men Gold number 30. Kitty Pryde and Colossus were going to get married.
Yeah.
And Kitty realized, if this was really meant to be, we should have been together years ago. I don't know that I'm ready for this. And Kitty bolted and they didn't get married. But at least Gambit and Rogue took the opportunity. They're like, oh, the rabbi's here already. Let's get married. So there was at least a wedding in the X-Men world. Batman had no wedding whatsoever, despite all the hype. So literally 2 weeks after a jilted wedding issue from Marvel, we get one from DC on a much bigger scale. So I don't know. Readers aren't pleased. Retailers are very not pleased. So
hopefully in another 25 or whatever he has planned out in sight, that
this feels like
he'll turn it around.
Feels like you should have killed Glenn the first time.
But most people are saying like, I didn't think they'd get married, or Batman doesn't work married. It's probably for the best. Like, well, yeah, that's probably true. But then don't hype it for a year and make a huge event out of it. Other news. We're getting a ongoing Firefly comic from Boom Studios starting in November.
I'm sorry.
Firefly, never die. I just coined that. That's pretty good. That was a little derivative, alright?
Got your brown coat out there in the car somewhere.
So yeah, this is the story of Mal and Zoe back when they were brown coats, fighting in the war. We just got hints of it during the show. So this is going to flesh out we're going to get some stuff in the present, but we're going to have backstory that we've never gotten before. But the interesting thing is, this book used to come out through Dark Horse, and now it's coming through Boom, which I completely missed at some point. We obviously didn't cover it on the podcast. That Boom signed some deal with Fox. That's what I completely missed. They had a first look deal with Fox Movie and TV Studios, which means, anything Boom puts out, Fox gets the first rights to either take it or not take it. And that must have worked out pretty well. And Fox eventually acquired a, quote, significant minority stake. So Fox Studios wanted a comic book company in their pocket to be creating intellectual property and new characters and new ideas, as well as old Fox properties to turn into comics. So I missed that. I didn't know. Boom is like the biggest indie publisher out there, below maybe Image and Dark Horse, and then probably Boom, third or fourth place. It said the purchase gave Boom additional capital so they could greenlight more series and give it better distribution channels. And then it helped Fox secure additional things for future projects. So obviously then Disney buys Fox.
Yeah. Right. I was just going to bring that up.
So now Disney has Boom, basically. So I don't know what that means for all that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure Disney, that's like the lowest thing on their to-do list. Let's figure out what's going on with Boom Comics.
We'll just sit this in the corner somewhere.
But I said, they're a bigger growing publisher with a lot of properties that we might be hearing more of soon. But I feel bad for Dark Horse because they've already lost Star Wars when Disney and Marvel combined. They lost the Conan license. Now they've lost the Firefly license. And other Fox things Dark Horse has, which I'm sure the minute the license is up, they're going to lose, like Aliens, Predator, Prometheus, that whole world. Buffy, they're wrapping up, they've been doing continuing seasons forever in the comic world. There's a 4-issue series going on right now. When that's done, Buffy is over at Dark Horse. They had James Cameron's Avatar, which they put out a few little short things before. I'm sure they were waiting on those big sequels to start the hype.
Hey, they're coming.
So, Dark Horse has published Aliens since like 1988 or something. Like, it's been ages. And they could be in trouble because they're losing a huge chunk of their catalog to going to these bigger companies. But the last bit of news, they're getting the Netflix license. Dark Horse signed a multi-year licensing agreement, quote unquote, with Netflix. So the first thing they're doing is a 4-issue Stranger Things miniseries starting in September. We are going to get the story of Will Byers, what happened to him in the Upside Down. because the show started, Will Byers disappeared, and we never saw him again.
Right.
So we're going to expand on that in the comics and learn what kind of monsters he had to fight or what adventures he had. And it said they're going to do several. They're going to keep, there'll be new miniseries and graphic novels. It said maybe some younger reader graphic novels, aged toward that age group. And then there's going to be more. They're going to, I don't know what Netflix, there could be a Glow comic book or the Ozark's comic. We don't they're going to see what happens and
I'm trying to think what else they would do. Stranger Things is the one that makes most sense, obviously, but geez, there's so much stuff.
Voltron, I don't know who has the rights to really. Voltron. But I was worried about Dark Horse, but that seemed to be a huge bit of news because Netflix again is the biggest. They put out, like I said, there's something new coming every month, something big. All right, that is all I had, except I forgot to make the joke.
Make it.
Can you go back and edit it in?
Yeah,
somewhere.
Sure. About Doves, something about that.
No, but we were talking about DC adding comics. I said I couldn't wait till Michael had to say all comics are streaming to me because he's eventually going to not buy any comics. And
where you at, Brad?
And we got an answer for Michael's one job.
Oh my lord!
So we got Field of Dreams, Field of Dreams, and what?
JFK.
Oh, okay.
And he was not privy to our conversation, so he came with JFK, and then a 5-minute gap, and then followed by Tin Cup.
He only gets
that was Christie's vote,
probably.
Yeah, I never tell him who wins. Just listen, like everybody else. All right.
Yeah. So, anything else big going on? I'll mention real quick before we sign off. We still have a Patreon button on the app on our website. You can, if you want to throw some shekels this way, just to help support the podcast.
The best thing about that Patreon button is it doesn't cost us anything to have it.
That's right. Only good things can happen if you click on that button. We do have some. I actually put up some of the few episodes of the old So Pro podcast. You can't find them anywhere else, but on our Patreon.
We couldn't even find him when we were looking for
That's
him.
Right. So, you can do that. You can follow us on Twitter at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, www.udownwithkpp.com, or follow us on our Facebook page.
Do we have a title for this one?
Power Mon.
I was just thinking bread or carbs. That's all I had.
Sorry, I was saying that. Where the hell? I want to find something here real quick. Sorry, you can cut this out later.
It all stays in now.
No
editing.
No.
Don't give away our tricks.
I can't find it. I was looking for Field of Dreams to try to find out what his name was because we kind of.
It was Ray.
Ray?
Oh, Ray what? Wait, what? Oh, okay. Ray.
Moonlight Graham.
Stans. Palmer.
Ray Kinsella. I was curious. Ray Kinsella. That's the role that is forever in the. Okay. So if they make any more with Ray Kinsella in it.
And the ghosts go on the road and play a Bad News Bears team in Japan.
Right. They resurrect what's his face? What's his name? Walter Matthau. He comes out from
walking through the corn.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
With a beer. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, he as Oscar. Anyway, dream movies. Okay.
As always, I don't know what of that is staying in, but
nothing.
As always, thanks for listening. I am Jordan Lowe.
My name is Cliff Barnes.
And I got hungry, so no more bread. I'm Seth. Bye forever.
Carbs.
Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com.
I think he said, "Let's move on."
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know why it didn't play.
What'd you do, Brad? Did you pull a cord out?
Yeah, I don't know why it's not playing. But okay, I'll add it in later.
Oh yeah.
Go la 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 la.